This snaps the path actually. Um, I'll show that later on. Down here are object modes. We have the pivot, the tool, the grid, and the mirror plane. So in the standard mode, when you want to work with everything, the tool in its general sense, you want to use the pivot. So right now I'm in pivot. I'm moving the pivot and the tool. The tool is a child of the pivot. Go into tool. If I move that, I'm going to be moving the tool only. And if you see over here, this is our pivot. The grid can be modified and changed just like our tool. We can move it around. You can rotate it. Can't scale it, that won't do anything. And we can also do the same with the mirror plane. Now you have to have the mirror plane toggle turned on for this to take effect. Or at least notice what effect it has. In the next drop down, we have our handles. Default is follow. So right now, if I click anywhere on the screen, the tool will snap to my cursor and will follow my cursor around. Spacebar will park the tool. That way I can move my cursor independently of the tool. We have translate, global, and local. At this point, global and local for either of these will be the same for rotation and translation. If I rotate this tool, now we can see that it's about 45 degrees off of the grid here. Now, because I'm in rotation global, when I let go, the rotation tool will go back to its global orientation. Now, if I switch to local, it's going to snap to the same orientation as the tool. And now, because it's rotated, we'll notice a difference in translate global and local. We have our global axes as well as the tool axes that show the current state of rotation. Now if I switch to translate local, it's going to match the tool's axes. And scale looks similar to follow with a uniform ring around it. So you just grab anywhere outside that to do a uniform scale. If you're inside, you can grab each axis and scale along that axis. As you can just see, our next three are resets. The first one is reset translation, reset scale, reset rotation, then reset scale. Let me add some clay. Okay, our next button is rotate to gradient. So we have our cube tool on the surface of a sphere clay, and this is similar to our snap up top, rotate to gradient. The one up here is continuous. The one down here will only do it once, the one time you hit it. So now if I grab my tool and move it around the surface, it's going to stay oriented in that fashion when we click that button. The next drop down selects our axes. This works with the next few buttons where we can flip, rotate counterclockwise and clockwise. To better demonstrate, I'm going to use the cone. Whoops. So our y-axis right now is this green one. So if I rotate, we're going to be rotating counterclockwise around that axis. Same with the x. You can go both ways. And you can also flip. This will flip you 180. Since our tool is symmetrical in the Z, you didn't really notice that, so let's change that. And I flipped our tool 180. Now, if you go over to our objects menu, we have angle increments. That's default to 90. So if we set this to 180, when we use these, it will have this effect. So now we're getting a flipping effect because our angle increment is 180. Turn this off, it goes back to 90. Oh. Still 90. Turn it on. 90. I guess it can't go beyond 180. Interesting. Okay. That's handy though when you want to just flip things at precise degrees or increments. The next two buttons over here will decrease and increase the size of your button, or the size of your tool.